Hi, the topic today is how to be highly effective. We're focusing on the mind. All battles are fought in the mind. Your mind is the battleground. So whoever conquers your mind conquers you. That's why I'm talking about mentality trait today. I've done mentality 1, mentality 2, 3, and today's one is 3, the third one. You see, your mentality is important if you must survive and if you must strive. You see, in today's mentality, what I'm going to discuss is your internal factor and your external factor. Now, I start with external factor. You see, your external factors are the excuses you have as a human being. Excuses like, oh, I am black, oh, I'm white, oh, I'm tall, oh, I'm short, oh, I don't have education, I don't have degree, I don't have parents, I don't have money. All the excuses. These are external factors. So your external factors are your situation, your circumstances, and your circumstances and your situations. These are your external factors. These are what are controlling you all the time. So these external factors are the limiting factors. They are the factors that make you not to be highly effective. They are the factors that make you not to succeed or not to be successful. Now, the internal factor is God. Your internal factor, I define it as God. Now, I want you to look at this scenario. You see, God is at the center of your life. So inside you lives God. And what that means is what is inside you is bigger than what is outside you. So what is inside is bigger than what is outside. Now, any moment you fail to achieve success or you fail to strive, that means you've allowed the external factor to overpower the internal factor. So that is why your environment, your situation, your circumstances, these are limiting factors. And if you're not strong enough, you don't have the internal power, you become a victim of these forces. You become a victim of these factors. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, even if you have the highest potential or you have the best ability, if you don't have the mentality, the mindset, see, those factors become limiting factors and you become the victim of this powerful gift God has given to you. God said He has created us in a wonderful way. We are wonderfully made, best fitted. We are all right. Everything is perfect. That is the situation of your life today. But your limiting factor is telling you, is contradicting this thing God has already said about you. So that is why most people, when they engage in business or they engage themselves in any activity, they are defeated because they allow the limiting factors to surmount the internal factor. You see, you have God, the whole forces in the world, the universe inside you. Now, these forces inside you, you allow the external factor, which is a lower factor, to take control of your life. And once these things take control of your life, you become a victim of your situation. You become a victim of your circumstance. You become a victim of your environment. You see, you are not created to become a victim of your own environment. You are not created to become a victim of your own circumstance. You are not created to become a victim of your own situations. So you are created in the image of God, and God has given you his own image, has given you the self-esteem and the confidence and everything you require to be successful. But because you don't believe in it, or because you have a cynical view about it, that makes it impossible for you to achieve your vision, or to achieve your dream, or to make your business move. You see, we are trained to limit ourselves. We are trained not to believe in our vision. We are educated not to believe in ourselves. The society has put a barrier and has developed opinion around you that you cannot extricate yourself from it unless you have the internal power. So if you don't understand these situations, if you don't understand these things I'm talking, you will find it difficult to overcome every obstacle that comes in your way. So you are God, but the God inside you is invisible. And now God has left inside you himself, completely himself. But you are not listening to the voice of God inside you, and you allow Satan or a lower force to take control of your life. I have seen people several times, they are living in fears. They are saying, I am white, that's why I don't succeed. I am black, that's why I don't succeed. Oh, my parents went through slavery, that's why I can't succeed. Oh, I'm short, that's why it's impossible for me to do this. Oh, I have all these challenges. But you've forgotten that these challenges are problems that God allows to make you successful, to make you manifest yourself. So if you don't understand this, when you see obstacle, when you see challenge, you give in. It shouldn't be so. Challenges are meant for you to demonstrate who you are. They are meant for you to manifest that God inside you. And they are meant to create you. And then why are you running away from factors that are meant to make you great? That's a question. Why are you moving away, escaping in fear when you face challenges that are meant to make you who you are, that are meant to make you to manifest yourself, that are meant to make you great? So it is counterproductive when you keep on studying, reading Bible, doing everything, but you don't believe in it. You see, it is counterproductive to have the best degree, have first class, but you don't know what to do with it. You can have as much abilities or as much advantage in the world, but that is not what counts. What counts is simply your mentality, your mindset. So this mentality or mindset, this is what makes you great. So people who have the right mentality don't allow situation, environment, and circumstance to overpower them or to defeat them. They don't become the victim of their situation. They don't give excuses. Now, how can you, after possessing God inside yourself full time, you are giving excuses? So which other force do you want? Which other power do you want? You already possess God inside you. Tell me, you have the whole power, the whole universe, the whole power in the universe concentrated in your mind, and you're still looking for another power. That is why they said, what is inside me is greater than the world. That means God is inside you. Your heritage is God. Your heritage is not your earthly father. Your heritage is God. You are a child of God. You came through your mother into this world, but you are not part of your mother. Your mother was a vessel that was used to launch you into the universe. But God is your father. Your heritage comes from God. Until you understand these very things, you cannot achieve something people thought was impossible. So impossibility is what people who allow external factors, like I've already told you what external factors are, to overpower the internal factor, which is God. So you are not meant to be defeated by situation, financial crunches or financial situation, difficult time. You are not meant to be conquered, because you are a child of God. You are God in yourself. God has given himself to you. But if you don't break away from this bondage, you are gonna be a victim of all these good things God has created and given you. God gave you power. God gave you everything, all advantages, talents, and gifts. But if you don't have the mentality, you will become a victim of this enormous power. I was telling somebody one day, look, now in this part of this world, they normally give you credit card. So the credit card gives you the opportunity to buy things, to have access to money. But there is a way you mismanage the credit card. That credit card becomes a limiting factor. It becomes, you become a victim of it. The same people that beg you to give you credit card are the people who will turn around, threaten you, to pull you away from where you are, even to damage or to close their business. This is the way it is. So God has given you talent, gift, ability, image, himself full. But if you don't use it, you will now become a victim of these best advantages you have. You will now become a victim of this gift and talent you have all over you. Why? Because you refuse to use it, and you refuse to understand the principle that is behind all these things. See, look at David, for instance. David was a great warrior. So he fought Goliath, somebody who is close to 10 feet. Probably David was about 5 feet. Now, David had no military training. Goliath had 30 years of service and 30 years military training. So Goliath was a formidable soldier, but David had no training, inexperience. Now, what gave David the audacity to challenge Goliath? Is mentality. What gave David the boldness and confidence to say, I'm going to fight Goliath? Is mentality, the mindset. Because David knows that every battle is fought in the mind. That is where every battle is fought. If your mind is conquered, you are conquered. So David knew the power he possessed. He possessed full-time God inside him. And then here is a Goliath who is going to challenge God in the image of David. And that was why David went after Goliath and decimated him, brought him down. Because David knew that Goliath was an empty threat. A threat was coming from a powerless one. So if you don't understand this, when you face the storm in your life, when you face challenge in your life, when you face obstacle, you will start fearing. How can you possess God inside you and you are afraid? Where is your faith? Where is your belief? Where is their strength? So, people that are frustrated in the universe or in this world is because they've allowed the external factors to overpower the internal factor, which is God inside them. So, this is the battle that goes all in our mind every day. So, it's important for you to understand this. Because if you don't understand this, you will be lagging behind. You will not be successful. You will be wondering, who is after me? Who is making me not to succeed? In fact, you don't need other people to be successful, so to say. You need people, but you need first and foremost the internal power. So it is not, you see, God is so wise that he cannot give outsiders, people, situation, environment, circumstance, control over you. Because if he gave them the power over you, that means his word won't be fulfilled. He says you'll be fruitful. That means be successful. So you'll be successful regardless of people around you. So when people are chattering, making animal noise before you, don't believe them, because God has already left all the forces, all the factors, all the money, all the power inside you. In fact, God will make those people to start working for you. This is the kind of power you possess. So, I'm here today to tell you, look, everything is in your hand. It is a matter of belief, your belief system. We allow our beliefs, our tradition, and our culture to stifle us. We allow it to build a bondage, a barrier around us. And then we kept on blaming people. Blaming Paul, blaming Job. Saying, oh, I went through slavery. Or I went through difficulties. I'm a woman, I'm that, I'm this, and that. I came from a poor family, I don't have money. These are external factors. They don't count. What counts is your understanding and the strength you have to understand that God lives inside you and you have the whole forces inside you moving. But you don't see it. When you are moving with the whole forces in the universe. But it looks light, but you cannot conceive it. You cannot understand, because these forces are invisible. So it is very important you understand this principle. If you don't understand it, you will always be conquered. You will always be afraid. You will always be a victim of your situation. You will always be a victim of your environment. You will be a victim of your circumstances. Shouldn't be like that. Look at Joseph. When he was put in prison, he didn't allow his circumstance, which is prison, his situation, to overpower him. Instead, he used the prison as a stepping stone to become what God made him to be. So whichever situation you find yourself in life, you have to use it as a stepping stone to build your house. So what is so complex about this? The complex about it is that because you refuse to take up knowledge, you refuse to accept knowledge, you refuse to accept new ideas. Remember, if you don't, they said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So if you don't have knowledge, you're gonna perish. There's no way you're gonna solve any problem without having knowledge of it. So you better learn how to get knowledge by reading, by opening your mind to the environment God has created, by studying his nature, by studying natural things that are happening around you. So if you're ignorant, you're not going to go anywhere. So knowledge is so powerful that if you don't have it, you can't solve your problem. So this thing I'm giving to you is knowledge. But if you close your mind, then you're not gonna have access to knowledge. And what God said, he's gonna reject people who don't have knowledge. Because God cannot walk with somebody who hasn't got the knowledge. He says he will reject a person who has not got knowledge. So you have to spend time to look for knowledge. Knowledge is essential. So without knowledge, there is no way, there's no hope. Without knowledge, you cannot understand. And if you don't understand, you cannot apply it. So if you shut your mind away from knowledge, that's where you're going to be. So look at Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was put in prison in order to break his will. But the prison, he turned it around. The prison became a strength for him. So wherever situation you find yourself, that situation was created to break your will, to break you down. But if you are wise, you have knowledge and you have understanding, you know, you will rejoice and laugh. Look, this is my game. This is where I believe. One moment. This is when you see challenges like Nelson Mandela, he was put in prison. When he got there, he became very comfortable. He knew he was going to overpower it. The prison was strategically meant to break him down. But he said, look, I'm not going to be broken. You're not going to break me down. Instead, he gathered momentum and used the prison. So the prison becomes counterproductive to the people who imprison him. So that is the situation. So whatever situation you find yourself in this world, use it as a stepping stone, because nobody can break you down, because you already possess God. So you already possess the highest power. But the devil is telling you, is bringing fear into you. You allow the devil to come into your mind, and that devil is lower than you, and you obey the voice, because whoever voice you obey conquers you, and you become a servant to it. So in your mind, if you obey the voice of the devil inside you, the devil was created to be lower than you. If you obey his voice, he conquers you, and you begin to serve the devil. And that's why you see people serving the devil every time, worshiping devil worshippers, because the devil has conquered them. And once you conquer, the devil conquers you, it's the voice of the devil you will be hearing. That's the voice you will be obeying, and you become lower than the devil. That is the irony of life. So that's why you see people, they worship devil, they worship Satan, because they have allowed a lower being to conquer them. And whoever conquers you, you begin to serve. So that is the situation of people today. So I'm going to look at I'm going to read from Tuning, Fontane's inspirational quote. I give you analogy, so that I can bring it down, so that you can understand, you can be at home with what I'm saying, because I might be sounding Greek, but I want to come down so that you be in the same chapter with me. You understand the language I'm speaking. Now, she said the lesson: be your own leader. It doesn't matter who is expecting what from you, or how well intended they might be. If you want to make most of life and actualize your dream, then you must detach yourself from the expectation of you and become your own leader. You must take control of your life. Make your own decision. Face it and take responsibility for the outcomes of your decision. Believe in yourself. You must start believing in those little ideas for which you have always talked yourself out of doing. You must stop believing in those negative talks. Look at here. She said, you must stop believing in those negative thoughts that you've had all your childhood. All you cannot statements. You see, most of the things that constitute to us being a victim of our environment is the limiting factors, the tiny little voices in our mind. Now she goes on. You must move away from those negative habits. So, negative habits. So, let's see what she says about negative habits. Both those learned from your home and from friends. Those become limiting habits. So, you must learn to drop them. Most people don't succeed because of their parents. They never allow you to explore life or to discover yourself. You must cut off from their own fear package as love. You see, you have limiting factors. Your friends, your parents. You see, parents most times project the fear they have into their children. And these fears, become limiting factors in the progress of their children. And these parents that project fear are the same parents that will turn around to start scolding a child. Look, what are you doing here? Your mates have done this, your mates have done that. But they didn't realize that they have unconsciously introduced fear into the life of their children. So she had similar experience while she was growing up. I'm reading from the book again, Tune In, by Faustina Anyanwu. So she says, my mom was such a wrap up for me as a child. She cast all her fears over me since I was the first daughter. She wanted the best for me. Therefore, letting her fear of following me to make mistakes took over the ability to allow me to develop. So the mother wasn't helping her to develop. So she guided all my steps. Fought so hard to let myself out of this hood. See, the mother was kind of building barrier, a kind of, something, an invisible barrier around her, making her not to grow out of the shell, always introducing fear. She whatever she wants to do, the mother wants to do it for her. She wasn't letting her to explore herself, to become herself. I read on. Even when I knew very well what I was doing and what I wanted, my mom within her always thought I was still a child that needed guidance. That caused a lot of rebellion and fight between us. You see, there was a kind of friction between her and the mother, because she realized that her mother wasn't allowing her to live her life. And the same thing applies to you. Sometimes your father or your mother will not allow you to become yourself. They will be checking you, visiting you at school. Look at, you have a child in the boarding school. You visit the child every weekend, every day, worrying about the person. So you are invariably projecting your fear into the child. And then the child will start living in fear. And once you start living in fear, you will not develop. You can't move out from your circumstances. You can't move from your situation. It becomes a barrier, a wall around you. And these are limiting factors. I carry on. When I finally got into school of nursing, my mom introduced me to several distant relatives who live in the city to take care of me. Yet, if I failed to come home any weekend, Mom would show up in my school the next Monday morning. It became a ritual. Even my classmates and lecturers became acquainted with it became a ritual. Like I say again, it became a ritual. Even my classmates and lecturers became acquainted with it over a time. My mom would come to my school, take me to the shop to buy my provision, body lotion, soap, even undies. Till today, I still struggle with buying my undies. If I do, I'll get the wrong size. So this is a practical way parents, introduce fear and make their children not to develop. not to break away. So sometimes they see it as a rebellion. But you need to rebel against your culture and tradition in order to grow. So because if you're in the same environment and you don't have the internal power, you cannot, the environment will not allow you to grow. So you need to create the mental environment, which I call that mentality, for you to be above your environment. Because your environment not only stifles you, it gives you opinion of you, it creates an image and which you must fit into. And if you fail to fit into it, you become a problem. They disassociate themselves from you, they make you suffer, and they make mockery of you, and they laugh at you. So they are waging psychological war on you because you want to become yourself. They wage psychological war by ostracizing you, by talking negative things about you, by chattering, by isolating, by not coming around you. These are the ways environment, situation control us, because our parents or people around us or our environment will allow those external factors to stifle us, to wrap us like this. And when you are wrapped like this, you'll be suffocating. That is why you see people today, from Monday to Friday, they are always working. They are always working for people, but they never thought one day, like, look, I can start my own business. Everybody is moving the same direction. Nobody wants to think, oh, look, how come everybody is looking for employment? How can't I start thinking of business to start up my own business? One moment. In our own culture, we are trained to always look for employment. We are trained for always work for people. So wherever we go, we are always looking for employment. But the difference between other people or the Western world or people who are very successful is because they think differently. Since they have understood, like, everybody's looking for employment, they say, okay, let everybody start looking for business. Let everybody start introducing business. So if you can change the way you're thinking, then you will see that everybody's flowing towards looking for employment. Then now you can say, okay, let me start building businesses so that I can employ people. It's a simple thing. So that's why the conferences and other things we do, the youth empowerment program, the conferences, the Divas of Color conference, these are why we are saying, look, it is high time we start thinking in a different way. Let's reverse our thinking. Since all our community, the people in our community, everybody's looking for a job, then let's reverse it. Let's start looking for business. Instead of looking for a job, I start looking for business. And that is exactly how God thinks. That's God's mindset. So it is important you understand this. I'm so happy that I've had the opportunity to come on stage or at this platform to explain this one by one, stage by stage, so that you know why you are not thriving, so that you know why you're not successful. It's because of fear. It's because you haven't understood the principle of success. So you need to understand the principle of success in order for you to be successful. So, and there's only way that you have faith. Faith means walking. So there's no faith in somebody who is praying always but doesn't do the work. So you need to change this mindset. Their mentality is important. You might have the best degree. You might maybe you school in Oxford University, Harvard. You had a Harvard degree, you have Oxford degree. That does not make any impact if you don't know what you're doing. If you haven't got the mentality. Do you know how many people that have Oxford degree, Harvard degree, the best degree in the world, but they can't do anything? Because inside them they are weak. So it is not your education, neither is your height or neither where you're coming from, or neither who your father is, your earthly father is. No, they don't count. What counts is your understanding, your relationship with God, how God explained himself to you, how you understood that God lives inside you, that what lives inside you is bigger than what is outside. So until you have this understanding, you can't break away from the bondage. You can't break away from people's opinion of you. You can't break away from chattering. People chatter behind you and talk, silly things and negative things. They are conniving to build a wall and to bring you down if you don't know. So you need to guide your mind. You need to guide your understanding. You need to get everything in place for you to be successful. Success is easy because God has created you and put all the factors that will necessitate or will make it possible for you to be successful inside you. But the problem is that you are afraid. The problem is that you are cynical. The problem is that you are being subjective. You are not being objective in your analysis and the way you look at things. You refuse to have a positive mindset. You refuse to accept knowledge. You refuse to read books. Look at the books. Like the Big R explains everything about I'm talking here. The Big R of a successful business is meant to give you knowledge. And knowledge is power. You cannot move an inch unless you have knowledge. And then you must have knowledge for you to understand and then for you to apply it. Every problem is solvable. There's no problem that is not solvable. The problem is you haven't got the knowledge. And you haven't got the understanding. And then there's no wisdom. You can apply it. That's why these books are here for you. So, if including this, I'm not the writer of this one. So, it is necessary you seek knowledge. Because if you don't seek knowledge, God said, I'm going to reject anybody who doesn't seek knowledge. It is written in the Bible. It's written everywhere. So if you haven't got the knowledge, nowhere for you. So that's why the first thing you have to do is to seek knowledge. Seek knowledge doesn't mean reading books only. The environment there is to teach you. God had created animals and everything so that you can convert them into your culture, your environment, your nature into culture. Culture of reading, culture of practicing, culture of preparation, culture of believing in yourself. So I don't see anything difficult about it. It's because you've personally decided to shut down your mind. You've refused to open your mind to the new ideas and challenges. You refuse to open your mind to read. Because if you don't read, there's no way you can get knowledge. If you don't open, you don't listen to people, you don't listen to your role model. I'm not saying you should listen to me. There are millions of people that their message resonates with you. Learn from them. But don't become them. Learn from them, but don't become them. Because imitation doesn't give you power. It's this originality. God created you in a unique way, and there is a message, purpose God created you to deliver. What messes someone up is his inability to take advantage of the message he got inside him. It's a mind that messes you up. What messes somebody up is his mind. What messes people up? Their mind. It's not Peter, it's not John, it's not Paul, it's not all the native doctors and other things you have in the village. And those. This is not what messes you up. It's your mind that messes you up. Nobody can conquer you. Nobody can ride you unless you bend. By bending means you have allowed a flow of information that are corrupt to come into your mind. I was asking somebody this morning, why is it that people don't seek knowledge? Why is it difficult for people to seek knowledge? He was telling me, look, you see, you have the trinity of body. You have the body, you have the mind, and you have the spirit. Now, the problem is your soul. Your mind is your soul. Now, if your soul leans to your body, you are corrupt. It's like a computer that is corrupt. You know, is a hard drive that is corrupt. Nothing works. So if you lean your mind, you are corrupt. No information, no amount of banging in your head that will make it open to understand that God exists and that you have the power. So it's it's a tough battle to change the mind of somebody who is corrupt. That's why corruption is deadly. If somebody is corrupt, it's very difficult to change him. It might take 20 billion years. So now, another one is if your soul leads to your spirit, that means you are not corrupt. That means you can seek knowledge. That means you can understand. That means you can apply. So these are scenarios that makes it impossible for people to understand. So no matter how you talk, you can talk here for 20 billion years, they will not move. They will not understand. Because their mind is corrupt. Because they corrupt their mind. They've introduced a wrong information into their mind. They allow the flow of information from outside to corrupt their soul, and it's become impossible, very difficult. That's why the Holy Spirit is fighting the highest battle. Because for you to change the mind of one person, it takes Holy Spirit to do it. So that's why you see corruption. You wonder. You see people, they dress well, they show up well, but inside their mind, they are corrupt. When they move out, the trust they live is corrupt, and the things that are dirty, negative things. Because their soul is sold. They lean to their body. They are only they are living by flesh. That's why God said you must live in spirit. If you are living in flesh, no way, you are corrupt. The flesh controls you. The voice you obey is the voice of the flesh. And once you obey that voice, you are down. You become a slave. That is why people go and kill other people and do rituals. They use it to do rituals, thinking that they're going to be successful. In the end, they become consumed themselves. It's because they have corrupt mind. They have a negative information into their soul, and they sold their soul. And they are frustrated. They are always doing rituals. They're always killing people, shooting people, doing all these kind of negative things. So life is about mentality. Life is about your mindset, how you look at things. I'm going to recap. Mentality 3 I'm talking about today. Your mentality is your ability to allow their internal factors, internal power, to overpower the external one, to overcome the external one, because you already have full-fledged God. So don't give excuses that you are not tall, you are black, you are white, you are green, you are yellow, your father is this. These things are not what counts. What counts is the fight. Look at lion, for instance. Lion attacking an elephant that is 50 times heavier and 50 times stronger. It's the mindset. Because lion believes he's bigger, he's stronger, because he has the mindset. And elephant believes he's weaker, because he doesn't understand he's bigger 50 times. So it's all about mindset. So change your mindset. Renew yourself by getting information, proper information. Not every information leads to the truth. So to be highly successful, you must have the mentality. It is not your degree that counts. It is not your financial capability that counts. What counts is your mentality. Because if you don't have the right mentality, you cannot use your internal power. Thank you.